Okay, so in this particular video, I want to discuss something that I know is um, an issue in a lot of relationships, marriages. Um, I would typically say marriages um, is something that most men tend to complain about. Okay. Now, for those of you who are and I usually don't ask this, but I feel that it is something that deserves to be discussed. And I feel that it could be therapeutic for some people. Um, and of course, there's no judgment, uh, no looking down, any of that sort. I don't do things of that sort. Okay. Um, but the reason for me posting this video is because I seen something on Instagram um, where this guy, now I wrote down what he said in his captions so I won't forget. He said, I've been laying here for 20 minutes waiting for my wife to make the first move, and she's just over there laughing at reels. Now, there's a couple of things that can be addressed when it comes to this particular uh, content creators post. Now, of course, a lot of people post things simply for content, okay? For likes and shares, in order to maybe connect with their audience, possibly. I don't know. But mostly it's for content. And now this particular situation, it's a reality for a lot of men. Okay. And I don't have to be a man to know this to be a fact, because I have been on both sides of this spectrum. Okay. I'm speaking from experience. Now, I made a comment, and I usually don't comment on people's posts or whatever, but for some reason, this kind of pulled at my heartstrings, because I know that this is something that a lot of men they struggle with in their relationships with their mates. Um, so I read some of the comments and I put my comment on there. And what I said was, instead of him basically waiting for her to initiate, he can move closer and caress her, so that way she knows, okay, he's in the mood. Because we as women, we are not mind readers. Okay. Although I wish we were mind readers, we are not. So instead of waiting for her to make the first move, because you're feeling this and she can't read your mind, then you make the first move. Now, this is something that is becoming very toxic in this whole relationship dynamic, this whole initiating thing. One person is waiting for the other to initiate something when they clearly feel a certain type of way. And then they wonder why nothing is progressing in their relationship, because everybody's sitting around waiting for somebody to make a move. Now, I don't know if it's pride. I don't know if it's the ego, or if it's something that's trauma based. I'm strongly going towards the latter. I feel that this type of response or this type of attitude when it comes to relationship, this whole initiating thing, is based off trauma, because a lot of people have been in situations where they've given to their partner and they didn't receive anything. It wasn't reciprocated. So because of that, they've made the decision to say, okay, in order for me not to feel rejected, then I'm going to wait for my partner to initiate. Although I am the one that's feeling this feeling at the moment. Okay. And with that being part of the facts, that says that you have some inner work to do within yourself. Okay. And I'm trying not to get off on topic, because when I talk about stuff like this, so many things go on through my mind simultaneously, all kinds of thoughts. So it's kind of hard for me to compartmentalize things and stay on topic. And I didn't write it down. I should have, but whatever. So a lot of this stuff is trauma based. From a male's perspective, men don't like feeling, well, nobody likes being rejected, but especially when it comes to men, men don't take rejection very well. Okay. And I think that stems more so from people having too high of expectations. Okay. And me personally, I'm the type of person that I've developed this mindset to not go into any type of situation with expectations. Okay. It took me a while to get there. Of course, I'm still growing, because you're always growing. You're always evolving. You should anyway. But a lot of men, and even the men that was in this comment, that were in the comment section that I was, communicating with back and forth, they made some points like, okay, if she wasn't distracted, she didn't have her back turned and distracted, then maybe she would see that, the man was interested. Yeah, that is true. When it comes to the whole phone thing in the bedroom, or when it's time to go to bed, I feel that that's not a very smart move. Because when it's time to go to bed, that is a time for you to unwind. And I'm guilty of this myself. When I go to bed, I have my phone and I'll be looking at my videos or whatever. But there is nobody on the other side. So that part don't include me. But with these phones have become addictive. Okay. It's like a dopamine release. And we like that feeling that we get when we're on our phones. And those who created these phones, those who created the social media, they created it for a purpose. And their purpose was to cause distractions. Okay. Now, I won't get too deep off into that, because that's a whole nother video. Although it kind of ties in with this, but I don't want to get too deep off into it. And not only does it pose as a distraction, it affects your ability to sleep. Okay. Because you have all this dopamine going through your body, you're getting this rush, and now it's hard for you to go to sleep. Before you know it, it's dang 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I know this because I've done it. I'm not speaking from something that I haven't experienced myself. And when you have your partner, now, when I did have a partner, if I had someone, sleep over, whatever, there is no phone. I don't believe in having a phone in the bed when it's just you and your partner. That is a time, like I was about to say, to relax, to unwind, and to kind of, connect with your partner without all the distractions. Like now your antennas are up. you're more likely to hear what your partner has to say. You can kind of be in tune with your partner at this time. So this person made a comment, and I might tag him on this. I don't know, but he made that comment, and I agree. She shouldn't have been on her phone. Yes, it does pose as a distraction, but two things can be true at the same time. Now, the husband, who was obviously in the mood, waiting for his wife to make the first move, her not being aware of him being in the mood, he should have initiated. Simple as that. Okay. And then another person commented like, okay, well, if he made the move and then, he ran the risk of being rejected. Again, men fear rejection. Now, with me saying that, let's get into the meat of this thing. Why this goes on. From a woman's perspective, because I've been there, a lot of times when a woman has a lot of responsibilities on her shoulders, especially if there are kids involved, she does not have the energy to give you what it is that you desire when it comes to being intimate, because she's tired. She's worn out. Now, if you as a man know that, you want to be intimate with your woman, there's a possibility that you're going to want to be intimate with your woman, then what is advisable for you, what is advisable is take some of that load off for that woman. And when this happens, she can see that, okay, my man is concerned about my well-being. He's taking some of this load off of me, and I appreciate him for that. And she's more likely to be in the mood when it's time to go to bed when you're ready, because she has a little bit more energy because you took some of her load off. Another thing is, a lot of men assume that we operate like men. Men are like robots, okay? At the flip of a switch, y'all ready. It don't take much for y'all. Y'all can see something and be ready, okay? Y'all can hear something and be ready. But for us as women, some of us, the majority of us, it takes a little time for us to warm up. So what I would advise for you men out there who may be going through this is, do not wait. And this is something that I experienced. Do not wait until it's time to go to bed, or do not wait until you're in the bedroom to want to be intimate with your woman. Intimacy for a woman starts outside of the bedroom. It starts with you having conversations with your woman, okay? Asking her about her day and genuinely being concerned, okay? Not playing a role, because we can pick up on that stuff, just like you guys can, okay? Taking her out on a date. And mind you, going out on a date does not always require money. Trust me, you have got to learn how to be creative, okay? Holding her hand, or if she's in the kitchen cooking or whatever, walk up behind her, give her a kiss on the jaw, or grab her behind, around her waist. Give non-sexual cues to your woman to feed her desire to want to be intimate with you later. Again, it starts outside of the bedroom for a woman. It takes two for this dynamic to work. Now, my heart goes out to men who are going through this, okay? Because I know how important sex is for a man. And sex is a beautiful thing when it's done correctly, in the right energy with the right intent. So when it comes to the whole rejection part, the reason why a lot of men, don't make the initial move is because they fear rejection. What you have to do as men is heal that thing that's internally, okay? There's something that you experienced that made you feel as though, and some of you might not agree with this, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree. That make you feel as though you're not worthy. Okay? There is an underlying issue there. Why one feels rejected. Or when you face rejection, that causes you to become closed off. Something happened to you, okay, that made you feel like you were not worthy. So with that being the case, you have to go within and spend some time. And I know it's probably more difficult when you're already in a committed relationship, when you're married, for you to do this, especially if you don't have the type of woman that understands space, okay? Because when you're in this type of situation, this type of mindset, it's going to require you to spend some time alone and do some reflecting, okay? Practicing self-love, self-care. And even if you have to tell yourself that you are worthy, tell yourself that until you goddamn believe it. You understand? In order for you to overcome the feeling, the negative impact of being rejected. So when you do get rejected, it doesn't affect you as much. But it's going to take some time. That's not something that's going to happen overnight. I always say this, and this is something that a lot of people try to avoid because it takes work. It takes time. It takes being true to yourself, being real with yourself about the shit in you that stinks. You understand? It takes accountability. It takes change. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to live in this illusion as though everything is hunky-dory when you being ate up from the inside out, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You have to do the inner work. It is imperative for your well-being. As men, especially, because you guys have no outlet. You have no outlet. You've been taught by society, and goddamn it, I'm going off a tangent here. I'm going somewhere else with that, but I'm gonna flow with it. You've been taught by society to not show emotions. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough. That's bullshit. There are two aspects to you being human. You have a feminine aspect and you have a masculine aspect. The key is to know how to balance those. When you're operating so much in your masculinity and you reject the feminine aspect of you, then you're going to have problems. And the same goes for women, but Right now, I'm talking to my brothers out there, okay? Um, so if it is sex that you are desiring with your mates, okay, one, remember that it starts outside the bedroom. Be intimate with your woman outside of the bedroom without sexual cues. She don't want you grabbing on her titties and her ass and trying to feel her all. No, don't do none of that. Don't do none of that. Focus on her as a person. Okay? Two, lighten her load. If she has a lot of responsibilities, if she's working, she comes home, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of the kids, making sure you're fed, your clothes are clean. If some might be in school, they might have family that they're trying to take care of, older parents that they're trying to take care of. Help lighten her load. There's nothing wrong with a man doing those type of things. It doesn't make you less masculine because you're doing things that society deems as a woman's responsibility. Now, that is bullshit all in itself. Okay? So, and then take some time to do some self-care. Okay? And have some space, carve out some space for yourself to go within and get in touch with you. Those three things. If you implement those three things consistently with all sincerity, I assure you, things will change around in your bedroom. Trust me. Now, this is going to conclude this video. Until the next one. Peace.